and I host the Weekend Morning Show on CBC Radio. It's such an honor and pleasure to be invited to do this. I feel like I'm coming home in a way. I moved to Canada in 2014, and I started my career working with the immigrant and refugee community. My first job, I didn't have a work permit, I was desperate to do something, so I was just applying, and it was actually this sector that invited me to start volunteering and then work. So it's so nice to come back and see familiar faces. I feel like I'm seeing my people again. So it means a lot to me to be here this evening. I want to start by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. On behalf of N.E.E.D.S, I would like to welcome you all to the 20th anniversary celebration and the National Youth Civic Engagement Conference. Exactly, that was the time for applause. So I would like to start this evening by asking you all to rise to welcome the youth that are attending this National Youth Civic Engagement Conference. They will be coming in. I'm going to ask you just to remain standing for a few moments. I think this is an important time now that we take some moments to remember the Syrian refugee children and the youth who lost their lives in the fire. Our thoughts and prayers are with the surviving parents. So let's just take a moment for that, please. Thank you. You can take a seat. Now, before we start this evening, I'll go over the exciting rules of housekeeping. We have the washrooms, which are located in the hallway just outside the room. If you need any help throughout the evening, we have a number of N.E.E.D.S staff. If you could stand and make yourself identifiable, they have their agency's name tag and are ready to assist. Thank you. Thanks very much. I would like to begin by calling upon an Indigenous knowledge keeper, Carolyn Moore, for the blessing of the event and the food.
Thank you. It's really dangerous to give me a mic because I might start singing Patsy here pretty soon. My name is Carol Moore. I walk with two spirit names, Blue Sky Woman, Morning Star, and I'm from the Deer Clan. And I'm very honored to be here this evening, especially on such an occasion as 20 years. And may there be another 20 or 40 or 60, and may it always be here at the N.E.E.D.S organization. The reason why we get offered tobacco, I like to give this teaching. I gave it this morning, so please be patient with me for the ones that were here this morning. But when Creator gave us tobacco, He gave us the four main medicines, which is the tobacco, the cedar, the sage, and the sweetgrass. And when He gave us the tobacco, what the tobacco does is it opens up the doorway to the west, and that's the doorway to the spirit world. And so what the Creator said is, with this tobacco, it'll help us to communicate better. with that doorway open. So whenever we do anything traditionally, we always ask for tobacco. So that's to open up that doorway. So miigwech. And I'd like to say the prayer, and also the sadness of the losses that we have with our young ones and the family that was in Nova Scotia, and our young ones that are still missing today also. So I'll say the prayer. I'm quick, and I hate to pray and run, but unfortunately I'm in the midst of doing another program, so I have to get right back to the women. Creator, it's Blue Sky Woman, Morning Star from the Deer Clan, please hear my prayer. Creator, we're gathered here today with such beauty. I want to say miigwech, Creator, for the wonderful weather that you're giving us, and for the people that come from other areas of Canada. Help us and guide us today, Creator. Help us to enjoy each other's company and respect and love one another, and walk with us always and keep our journeys safe. Oho miigwech, all my relations. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to our knowledge keeper, Carolyn Moore. And I've never heard that before. I've got to pray and run. That's a new one. I like it, I might steal it. As you are aware, the Centre was founded on February 16, 1999, with a primary focus on employment for women. And over time, the Centre has evolved, and for the last 10 years has operated as a youth centre preparing young refugees for school in Manitoba. I would love to acknowledge some of the dignitaries who have attended or are attending tonight. I would love you all to stand once your name is called, but I'd ask everyone to just please hold their applause until the end. We have the Honourable Kathy Cox, Minister of Sport, Culture and Heritage. The Honourable Rochelle Squires, Minister for Sustainable Development and Minister responsible for Francophone Affairs and the Status of Women. She's on her way, but she is coming. The Honourable Miriam Mahaichuk, Member of Parliament, Kildona and St Paul, has had a flight delayed, but she's still coming. This is the dedication we like, and she'll be giving her greetings later on. Ian Wishart, MLA for Portage la Prairie. Nick Curry, MLA for Kildonan. The Honourable John Gerard, MLA for River Heights. Marcus Chambers, Deputy Mayor. The Honorary Consul of the Republic of Poland in Winnipeg. Dr. Czarnecki. Margaret von Lau, CEO of N.E.E.D.S. A big round of applause for our dignitaries attending this evening. And I'd also like to acknowledge our funders, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, Canadian Heritage, Service Canada, Sport, Culture and Heritage Manitoba, Education and Training Manitoba, United Way of Winnipeg, and the Winnipeg Foundation. And it's also really important to recognise the work of the board and staff of N.E.E.D.S. Therefore, I would like to ask the staff and board to please stand, and a big round of applause for the people that make it happen. Now, as I mentioned, the Honourable Miriam Mahaichuk's flight has been delayed, so she will be giving greetings from the federal government after dinner. I would now like to ask the Honourable Kathy Cox, Minister of Sports, Culture and Heritage, to bring greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. And I'd like to thank the Elder for the wonderful prayer that she provided to all of us here today. It's so important that we always take time to pray and remember how fortunate we are to live here in this wonderful country and province. And it is my pleasure to be here today on behalf of our Premier, Brian Pallister, and all of my colleagues in the Manitoba Legislature. And I would also like to acknowledge John Gerard, the Honourable John Gerard, my colleague in the Manitoba Legislature, Marcus Chamber, Devon, Clunis for being here, and each and every one of you who is so important and really make this event so special, so thank you. Of course, as mentioned earlier, the Honourable Rochelle Squires is on her way and should be here very soon. And I would also just like to mention a little bit about Marcus, newly elected to City Council. Congratulations, Marcus. And I know that prior to that, you were a very long public servant with immigration and economic opportunities, so thank you. And I would also like to acknowledge, again, Devon Clunis, the former Winnipeg Police Chief. Devon hails from my community, and I'm so proud to have you here today, and I look forward to your very encouraging words. Thank you. And last but not least, a big thank you to my very dear friend, Margaret von Lau. Over the years, we've become friends, and I really am proud to say that you are so near and dear to my heart. I have never seen an individual more passionate and more encouraging when it comes to encouraging immigrants and immigration to our wonderful province. Thank you so much for what you do each and every day, Margaret. And we really have so much to celebrate this evening. I understand that National Newcomer Youth Civic Engagement Gathering is now in its third year and has engaged hundreds of newcomer youth from provincial partner sites across Canada. And that is in a large part, again, thanks to Margaret and her team who do such an outstanding job. I understand that when we started 20 years ago, Margaret, you started out with a staff of just 4, and that has grown to 90. Hardworking individuals to ensure that we can reach out to newcomers here in the province of Manitoba and assist them with that integration. So thanks again. And for youth, this gathering is a platform that you can access to learn from stories of empowerment, build your capacity, and highlight the civic engagement projects that you have undertaken. And this is really such a very valuable opportunity. The memories that you create and the friendships that you will develop with youth from across the province or across the country, you will never ever forget. And I am so encouraged by the enthusiasm and inspired by the energy of our youth here today. Each and every one of you has so much to contribute to the national effort. You should feel very proud of yourself. And as I said earlier, tonight is also a celebration of 20 years, your anniversary. Thank you, Margaret, for all you've done, and all of the entire team for the N.E.E.D.S Service Center. I mean, it's just amazing what you accomplish and what you do. So to all the board, the staff, and volunteer of the N.E.E.D.S Center, congratulations for your ongoing commitment to preparing young refugees and newcomers for immersion into school in Manitoba. Your efforts have positively impacted the lives of thousands of youth, and there is no better indicator than seeing the number of graduates here today that have participated in your program. So again, in closing, thanks to each and every one of you for what you do for all of us here in Manitoba. It is so special to be here with you today, and I look forward to hearing the speeches from Devon and the other guest speakers this evening. Thank you.
Thank you to Minister Kathy Cox. I would like to now call upon Deputy Mayor Marcus Chambers to bring the greetings on behalf of the City of Winnipeg.
So today is actually February 21st, which is International Language Day. I was at an event last night with the Bangladeshi community where we celebrated International Language Day, and just acknowledging that we should always take time to keep our language of our mother tongue, because it's a way of maintaining our heritage and keeping the vibrancy of our communities alive. Margaret, thank you for inviting me to the 20th anniversary of the N.E.E.D.S dinner. Again, we want to acknowledge that we are here on Treaty 1 land, and as we share our nation, our province, and our city, we ought to share the responsibility for making it the kind of place where we want to live in peace. This includes the responsibility of protecting each other's human rights and freedoms. You know, Petro-Canada started a new marketing brand called Live by the Leaf, which embodies Canadians' deep commitment to and love of Canada and our truly Canadian values. Petro-Canada's tagline is, "We want to demonstrate to Canadians that we share more than a country, we share a way of life." Now look to my left, look to my right. You don't see any walls. There you go. Each country must take the responsibility to uphold international obligations to provide asylum and protection to refugees. At an individual level, we must make one simple and personal commitment to help by simply saying, "I welcome refugees." You see, refugees add economic, social, and cultural vitality to our communities. Creating inclusive environments where all people can contribute to their greatest potential isn't the work of just one single organization. It requires an effort by all of us. I recall early in my career with the provincial government, I had the great opportunity to volunteer at the grassroots level with a then Sergeant Devon Clunis and another social worker named Donovan Tomlinson. We organized and established a stay in school program for inner city youth at the Gordondale School. Our target group was largely represented by newcomer youth who were finding their way in their new city. And as I reflect back, some of those experiences in presenting to those newcomer groups on a weekly basis are some of the most fondest memories of volunteering that I have. As recent as campaigning this past summer, one of those students, who's now a mom of 2 children, approached me and stated how some of the experiences that we were able to share as newcomers, because I came as a newcomer, Devon came as a newcomer, and so did Donovan. So some of the experiences that we were able to share helped to guide her in making some important life decisions. Refugee resettlement organizations such as N.E.E.D.S increasingly recognizes the need to create greater community support for refugees and the role they play in the broader part of community efforts that benefit refugee groups. I experienced these efforts last month when I attended the opening of the Newcomer Hub at the Ryerson School in my ward. N.E.E.D.S was there as a central participant, fully recognizing the role that they play in fully integrating refugee men, women, and children. Sadly, some of the stories that I heard regarding the persecution and victimization of some of these refugees that now make Winnipeg their home were barbaric and inhumane. And it will require countless resources and exhaustive efforts to build trusting relationships where refugees, again, can have a sense of safety, belonging, and inclusiveness. So as N.E.E.D.S works to provide youth mentorship, employment skills training, after-school programming, and additional connections to community through education and training, take up a personal challenge to offer supports through community organizations and volunteer your time to provide additional supports and assistance to newcomer groups. Our city is a welcoming city, and our communities are becoming increasingly diverse. And they're also multicultural. And we must strive to ensure that we are equally inclusive of all groups. It takes community engagement to help organizations and community groups identify the current strengths and consider specific new strategies for expanding and deepening their collaboration in order to promote a welcoming city. Inclusive, equitable cities are where everyone can reach their greatest potential and contribute to a prosperous economy and a flourishing culture. Thank you for allowing me to share a few words tonight. And on behalf of His Worship, Mayor Brian Bowman, and my esteemed colleagues on City Council, I bring you greetings on behalf of our welcoming city of Winnipeg. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marcus Chambers, for your words. That's it for now. We are going to have dinner. You will be served food by our hotel staff momentarily, and during that time, we will be having some entertainment from the Bridge Music for Life jazz band from Hugh John MacDonald School. So enjoy your food, enjoy the music, and we will continue after dinner.
Students from Hugh John MacDonald School. Yeah, how about it for Hugh John MacDonald? We teach a program there called The Bridge. It's a music program. The neat thing about the program is we've got students from all over the world speaking lots of different languages. And so in order to play music together, we sort of adopted a method of learning by doing. So rather than talk about music, we just play music. And we're going to play some songs for you tonight. I will introduce everybody on stage to you as we go along, and we're going to get to some music first. thank you. I would like to bring up two vocalists. Last year we started doing a song by Syrian pop star Nassif Zeytoun. It has become one of the favorites of the band. We would like to perform that song for you now by Nassif Zeytoun. This is N.E.E.D.S, and we are going to feature Samir and Mohammed on vocals. These phenomenal musicians. Your horn section, ladies and gentlemen, we have John and Roll and Clark and Sandra, who is also singing, and Josh. Those are your horn players. At the back there, our percussion section. We've got Emmanuel and Ulrich and Shiloh and Mohammed. Drummers. Our rhythm section, Miriam on the bass, Anton on guitar, and Lashanti on the piano. And finally our vocalists, Rosette and Viviana and Lala and Selena, your singers tonight. I'm going to finish off with I Want You Back by the Jackson 5.
Oh,
Very nice, very nice. But also coolest band teacher ever. Like, where were you when I was in high school? Things would be different. Guys, well, a big round of applause for these guys. So good. Well done. I'm just going to ask you all to stay here if they want to take a picture. So before you leave, just stay here. We're going to take a picture. Gather in, gather in. I hope you all are still enjoying your meal. I want to say a big thank you to the Marlborough Hotel and staff for providing this delicious food today. And I also want to acknowledge Jennifer Chan. She's the Winnipeg School Board Trustee. She's here this evening too. And I would now like to call upon the Honourable Mary Ann Mahaichuk, Member of Parliament for Kildonan St. Paul, to bring greetings on behalf of the federal government.
This is Nadia from CBC. I am an early morning listener. Yeah. Hey, now we're together. Okay, good. Bonjour tout le monde. Yaktamayash, chakai chakai. You know, this is Canada, isn't it? The fact that many of us can respect different languages, understand our backgrounds, but the most generous people of the country are the Indigenous people of Canada. Do we have any Indigenous people here? Right on. You know what? For 400 years, they've been letting in immigrants and allowing us to share the best country in the world. So when we say we're on a process of reconciliation, it's important to every one of us. Whether you're a settler like me from 1896, my family came. Ottawa said the land was free, that we should come to Canada, get a quarter section. And so my family left Ukraine, packed up their bags, took everything they owned and came to Canada for a new start. But it wasn't really free, was it? In fact, it was owned and occupied by the Métis and the Indigenous people, the First Nation people of Manitoba in the valley. And so when we begin, I want to recognize that we're on Treaty 1 territory and the homeland of the Métis people. Now, part of this story is about immigrants. Now, I've already told you that I'm 3 generation, and I was born here, but my dad wasn't. How many of you were not born in Canada? Hello! Welcome to the best country in the world. And how are we going to make it the best? By diversity. By understanding that your differences will make us a stronger country. And a program like NE.E.D.S able to understand what's happening. You miss your friends. The food is bad. What is the white stuff? You gotta get a parka. It's all complicated and difficult. But no matter what, we persevered and we made a great country. And so N.E.E.D.S, the program was first created to help immigrant, mostly refugee women, some immigrant women as well, but now is also doing a lot of work with youth. So on behalf of the Prime Minister and the federal government, just want to say how proud we are to provide $4 million to Margaret and her team to provide this kind of service to new immigrants to Manitoba, to give them a helping hand. Immigration has always mattered to Manitoba. It matters to Canada. Let's remember, be generous and open-minded and build a wall to that intolerance, because that is not Canada's reality. Merci beaucoup, Miigwech.
Thank you, Minister Mahajak. I would now like to call upon Lorraine Noking, board member of N.E.E.D. She will introduce our guest speaker tonight. Devon, please. Lorraine.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor on behalf of the board to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Devon Clunis. Devon and his wife, Perlene, have two daughters, Kayleen and Atira. Devon was born in Harmonyvale, Jamaica, and immigrated to Winnipeg in 1975 at age 11. As an immigrant, Devon was painfully aware of the deep social inequity faced by many groups in Winnipeg. He joined the Winnipeg Police Service in 1987 to impact social change. Devon believes greater emphasis must be placed on social equity in order to create safe and healthy communities. Devon received the Service Award of Excellence in 2002, recognizing his outstanding police and community work aimed at bridging social gaps. He received his first promotion in 2002 and rose the ranks to be appointed Winnipeg's 17th Chief of Police and Canada's first Black Chief of Police on November 2nd, 2012. As Chief, he continued to champion social change, resulting in a philosophical policing shift to crime prevention through social development in Winnipeg. This philosophy has emerged as the preferred approach to community safety and well-being across North America and increasingly the world. Since retiring in July 2016, Devon and his wife Perlene launched Clunis Consulting Group, Inc. and co-authored the children's book, The Little Boy from Jamaica, a Canadian history illustrating the potential inherent in each child and our communities. Devon is the recipient of the Lieutenant Governor's Award for Advancement in Interreligious Understanding in 2017 and continues to work to advance social change. He serves on the following boards as the Board of Director: Arthur V. Murrow Center for Peace and Justice, the Canadian Police Knowledge Network, and the Bear Plan Control. Devon continues to work to advance policing and community safety across North America through Clunis Consulting Group, Inc., in partnership with Matrix Consulting Group, a U.S.-based firm. Please help me welcome Devon Clunis.
Thank you. I am really thrilled to be here with you. Yesterday, I was in Florida. I am thrilled to be you're absolutely certain that where you are and what you're doing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, that you're really living out your purpose. This happened for me in 2014. In 2014, the Canadian High Commission in Jamaica invited me back to Jamaica. As a young person, it was always my desire to return to my home country, but I always said I wanted to have something to contribute. So I was invited back during Black History Month. Had the opportunity to speak to government, the opportunity to meet with the police commissioner and the police force there, spoke at the University of the West Indies, and the best part of it for me was this. I got invited back to Harmony Vale, to my elementary school, and when I walked in, there were 3 pictures on the wall. There was the Queen, the Prime Minister, and me. I'm like, wow. And then, no, it gets even better. And then the entire community came to the little church on a hill. The entire community. And the little boy was able to speak to the entire community, and all the little boys and little girls in the uniform are sitting there looking up at me, and I'm thinking, that was me. The emotional response that I have being here with all of you is very similar to that. At that point, I knew that I was living out my purpose. And when I received the invitation, because since I retired in 2016, my wife and I spend the winters in Florida. February is not like February in Florida here, is it? But when I received the invitation, some people were wondering, you want to go back to Winnipeg in February? Yes, because I thought, I will be living out my purpose by being here. Now, yes, it might be cold, but I was saying earlier here at the table that what we need to do in Winnipeg in terms of winter is market winter. We do winter really well. Do you know anyone else who does winter the way that we do it? I mean, when I'm away, I brag about how Winnipeggers know how to do winter. Nothing shuts us down. We should be really proud of that. So just look at it differently. But for all the young people here, can you just stand for a moment, please? Just stand up. All the young people, come on, do not be shy. This is not police telling you to stand up. Come on, do this. Just me. All the young people, please stand up. There you are. Like, look at all these beautiful young people. So let me say to the young people, and then you can sit. Let me say this to you with all sincerity. I want you to know that you have been on my mind for a very, very long time. Not about when I received this invitation. You need to know that it was my dream, my desire for all of you that drove me to become the person I am. If you were not on my mind, I would never have become the chief of police, the first black chief of police in Canadian history. You need to know that. I mean, when you listen to the conversation on the world stage today, turn on CNN, and you hear the conversation about people who may look like me or look like you, or who are just immigrants from another country, it's actually quite disheartening. And as I listen to those conversations, you know what comes to mind for me right away? Ms. Mahai talks about it. What comes to mind for me is that I am so proud to be a Canadian. I am so proud of the role that this country plays on the world stage in terms of how we see people who might look different than we do, come from a different culture, and just the open arms that this country has. And every time I watch the news, I'm just thinking, I am so glad that I'm a Canadian. And I have to tell you, yesterday as I went to the airport, and I got to the airport and I saw the airplane and it said Air Canada, something just felt very warm here. I love this country. So I'm proud that we are Canadians. In terms of Manitoba, we live in a great province. You talk about open doors. In terms of immigration, there was a little program in the provincial government called the Provincial Nominee Program. Who's heard of that? Opening doors. And for a period of time, a very good friend of mine worked in that program. You might know him. His name is Marcus Chambers. The first black city councillor in Winnipeg District. Marcus, please stand up for a second. Now, since I have the mic and you're standing up, I just wanted to say, you know what, we've never had a black mayor, but I'm not saying anything. Just bear that in mind. Thank you. But again, Marcus labored in that program. We have very open doors. And when you think about our country, you think about our province, you think about our city, think about Folklorama, longest running multicultural festival of its kind in the world, right? The Museum for Human Rights. And again, I talked about the fact that this city was the first to give a little boy from Jamaica an opportunity to serve as a chief of police. Think about all of that, respecting this country, this province, the city in which we live. We live in a great country. And again, a great country with great organizations led by great people like Margaret. Think about what she's doing. Think about what N.E.E.D.S is doing. Take a look around. Look at the faces here. You know, what we're seeing here is the future of our country. It really is. And so my main message is this. To the young people, I want you to know that you live in the most empowering country on the planet to be exactly who you are. The little boy who arrived from Jamaica, I do not believe for a second that I would have achieved what I was able to achieve in many other countries on this planet. It is because of the incredible environment that exists here. So I want you to know that what N.E.E.D.S is doing is preparing you to take full advantage of all the opportunities that are right here, right where you are. How many of you are from Toronto? Please put your hands up. Toronto. Opportunities galore, part of the country. Vancouver? Opportunities for you. Winnipeggers, in terms of young people, put your hands up. I love the entire country, but I'm a little bit biased to say this city. I mean, first black city councilor, black chief of police, opportunities galore, great organizations willing to support you. We're large, but we're small enough that we're incredibly connected. In some larger cities, I have to be honest, as I travel across the country, you just don't feel the same sense. So there's something very special here. We have to take advantage of it. Now here's what I want you to know. Think about the future of this nation. A couple facts about our country. It took 17 years after Confederation for Canada to achieve its first million. After that, it took another 14 years. In the first 50 years, we were only 4.6 million. From 2016 to 2018, you want to know how many people we added to the population? 2 million. Where do you think those people are coming from? Here's something else. We need to recognize that the birth rate is actually dropping, and because many people are getting older, it's just natural. The death rate is rising. However, our country continues to rise. We just passed 37 million. It is good for the country. Where do you think the population growth is coming from? Immigration. Where would we be without immigration? Where would we be without accepting people who are refugees? So what we're doing here is truly, we're ensuring the future viability of the country. Where you see some countries closing their borders and building walls, as you said we're not going to invite people in, I will tell you this. If they do that, in a number of years, those countries will start to decline. So what we're doing here is incredibly important. The future of Canada is diversity. So young people, here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions, and this is where I want to focus you this evening. Who are you? Ask yourself, who am I right now? And part B of that is, who do I want to be in the future? It is really important. Secondly, is ask yourself, what would I like to do? Totally different from who I am, or who you're going to be. Many people think, I want to be this, or I want to be that, but don't understand truly who they are. I think if you know who you are, it will actually help you determine what you should do. And that is totally different. And the third piece is, who's going to help me get there? I can tell you that the little boy who arrived September 15th, 1975 from Jamaica, and I have to tell you, I was cold September 15th. Like, I mean, winter was, but I did it well while I had to work here. But that little boy arrived, and there was no organization like the N.E.E.D.S. When I walked around, there was not too many people who looked like me. My first day in school, I walked into the classroom and I looked around and no one else looked like me, and it was like shock. And that first year was incredibly difficult, and I failed grade 6. I failed grade 6, and there were many people who said some very negative things about that little boy, such as he's a slow learner. They were trying to define him. Let's put him in a class for slow learners. Some of you are coming from very difficult situations, but you are coming into warm, receiving arms, people who are here to help you, to say that you have potential. That little boy could have gone in a totally different direction, but there was one person, one teacher who said, Devon, if you come to school an hour early, I will be here and I will help you. Think about all the people that you have in this city, in this room right now. Margaret and her entire organization will say to every single one of you who people might label as an immigrant, a refugee, we are here to help you. And sometimes that is all we need, is to have someone say, I am here to help you. I was very fortunate that Miss Hannah said to that little boy, Devon, I will help you. But then I did my part. I said, yes, I will come to school an hour earlier. I love asking kids this question. I would say, how many of you would get up and go to school an hour early? Yeah, a couple hands, but usually that's it, yes. But here's what happened. I believed in myself. I believed I had potential. Because when people were saying, no, he's a slow learner, there was something just screaming in my head saying, no, I can do this. And when Miss Hannah said, I will help you, I was very quick to say, yes, I will get up and I will come to school an hour early. I want you to remember that. Because you might look, excellent, you're back, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So people will try to define you, say, no, that little boy is not very smart. But as I said, I believe, and all I needed was a little help. Do you believe what people say about you? But I really want you to understand, believe in yourself, because there are others who believe in you. And when you hear the negativity, just throw that aside. Think about who you are, what you know about yourself. I knew that I had potential, I just needed some help. So literally I would get up and I would go to school an hour early, put in the work. And by grade 9, I tell you, I graduated a top student in the school. Top student. I just went to junior high, you go back, you will see 1979, still there to Clunis. But this is the point, young people, where I really started to think about you. As a teenager, that teenager was thinking about you, because here's what went through my mind. I said I didn't like what I saw portrayed about people who looked like me on television and in popular media at the time. It wasn't very positive. And I said to myself, I am a good person. I want to do good things. Why do I only see negativity portrayed? So I said this, I am going to do something to set an example for every little kid who looks like me, and for the broader community, that you don't have to fit or feed a stereotype. I want kids who look like me to see me and realize that they can be anything they desire. I started thinking like that as a teenager. So when I said to you earlier, you've been on my mind, I mean it with all sincerity. And I said I was going to do something. I did not know what I was going to do, but I just knew I was going to do something. Remember the first question I said? Who are you now? Yes, I was that little boy. But I knew that, who do you want to be in the future? I want to be a difference maker. So when I say to you, it's important to know who you are now and who you desire to be before you decide what you're going to do. I never wanted to be a police officer, let me tell you. I didn't. I became a police officer because I saw that by becoming a police officer, I would be able to live out what I wanted to be, a difference maker. Do you see what I'm saying, young people? Some people will make their decision about what they're going to do based on money. Wrong. First decide, who do I want to be? And then decide, what do I need to do that? Think about yourself now, you're a young person. What are the character traits that you need to develop? You know, the same year I was born, Dr. Martin Luther King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. And in that speech he says, he wishes or hopes for the day when his 4 little children will no longer be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. What is character? Well, if you were to ask me to describe Councillor Chambers, And I've known Councillor Chambers since we first arrived in the country, a very long time ago. I would say he's hardworking, dedicated, cares about people, smart, funny, and if his wife was here, I would say he's really handsome and very romantic. But he is all of that. That's character. You need to decide, who do I want to be in the future? And say, what are the traits that I need to develop? So I want to take just 10 seconds, young people. Think about, who do I want to be in the future? Or what do I need to do to become that person? And it'd be really cool if after we're finished here, you find a good friend, or somebody you really trust and say, here's who I want to be in the future, and go about trying to develop that. So once I decided as a young person, I wanted to be a difference maker, I knew that in order to do that, I could not be feeding the negative stereotype. I went to school in the North End, I went to St. John's High School, very proud of having been a Tiger. But I grew up in a neighborhood where there were lots of challenges and lots of opportunities for me to find myself doing the wrong thing, which would not get me to this destination of being the individual I wanted to be in the future. So when somebody would present me with that opportunity, I knew who I wanted to be, and because this particular path would not lead me there, I would simply say no. I was in room where people were offering me drugs. That's not going to get me where I want to be. I was in rooms where people are doing very negative things. That's not going to get me where I want to be. When you know who you want to be in the future, and that's why I'm challenging you to do that, you will resist some of these negative things that can rob you of your potential for the future. I would always say to myself, I left Jamaica where I grew up with no electricity, no running water. I am here in a land of opportunity. Why would I squander that? My mother worked very hard to get us here. And she worked 2 jobs, and I said, I cannot disappoint her. Let's not waste the opportunity. And it saddened me many times when I would see young immigrants who would be taking the wrong path, going in the wrong direction, because I knew that would not help them to achieve their future potential. There are a lot of people here who will help you. And so I was working towards, I thought when I went to university, I was going to become a biologist because I was very good at biology. And I was very much afraid of police officers, I have to tell you, because of what I saw on television. I would see a police officer come in one way, and I would go the other way. Because I never ever sat down and had a conversation with them. It's kind of like the way that people view somebody who looks different, right? Or from a different culture. Because of what they see, the stereotype that's on television, they've never invited a person to their home or had lunch with them to sit down and talk and realize, they're just like me. So while I was attending university, I had a chance to speak to a police officer face to face and shared with that police officer my hopes and my desires. I want to make a difference. And the police officer, who I have to tell you, did not look like me, was a white police officer, said, Devon, why don't you consider becoming a police officer? I had never seen a black police officer in the city. But the minute the officer said that, and I knew who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, I said, ha! I will become a police officer because when I do, people will see me. Isn't that crazy? You want to become a police officer so that people could see you? Yes! Because I respect police officer. It's a very public job, it's respected. And when other kids who look like me see me, they'll realize I do not have to feed that negative stereotype. And when people who don't look like me see me, they'll realize, hey, they're not just the bad guys. They're the good guys. So that's why I became a police officer, not for money, not for fame, not for any of those things. I wanted to make a difference. I knew who I wanted to be, and that led me into my career. Really important that you do that. Too many people chase money or fame or fortune or all these things, and at the end of the day, they end up very dissatisfied. So know who you are. Know what you desire to do with your life. Don't just chase those things. Another important thing I want to share with you is this. Who will help you get there? We talk about places like N.E.E.D.S. I talk about Miss Hannah. Miss Hannah, my grade 6 teacher who invested all the time. Teachers will help you to get there. Your parents will help you to get there. Good friends will help you to get there. Role models. Who are your role models? Mark will share that In 1998, we started a program at Gordonville High School because we realized there were so many young kids who looked like us who were coming into the country, and as a police officer, I was seeing so many finding themselves in conflict with the law, and I thought we needed to do something. So we volunteered our time to be an example to these young people. And Marcus can tell you how many of them went on to do extraordinary things because they were looking at us to be their role models. But I'm going to say something that might be a little bit controversial, but just hear me out. At that time, there were not that many people who looked like us in the country, and so I can appreciate that people would say, you need to see someone who looks like you. But I'll take you back to what Dr. Martin Luther King said. He said he wanted people to be judged, not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Think about that in our present context. And here's what I say to you young people. I am really glad that I can be here now and I'm living out my dream, my purpose. I'm fulfilling it to be an example to you. Marcus is here in a very public role, fulfilling that same purpose for you. But I would say, all the people in here who don't necessarily look like you are people of incredible character. Now, I would really love for our elected members of Parliament, MLAs, to please stand. Just momentarily, do me a favor. Go with me here. Please stand. Margaret, please stand. Teachers in the room. Any teachers in the room, please stand. Ah, wonderful. You guys are amazing. Amazing teachers. Anyone who works in finance, please stand. Any business professionals, please stand. Any engineers, please stand. Who am I missing? Anyone who works in retail, please stand. Take a look around. Boys and girls, here's what I'm saying to you. It's wonderful that you can see somebody who looks like you in a role. But just because you don't see somebody who looks like you in the role, let me challenge you here. Still dream. Look for anyone who's a person of integrity and character, and they can be your role models. It doesn't have to be just us. Thank you. Please be seated. And here's what I mean by this. I think possibly we have to change the rhetoric around that. We would say you have to see, no, you're in a land of opportunity. You really are. The role models are all around you. I can tell you that when we started a program at Gordonville High School, and yes, initially it was for kids who were diverse like us, but then all the kids wanted to come in, and we said, no, open the doors. This is for anyone and everyone. This is our country. This is our province. This is the city of Winnipeg. My greatest role models in school, I have to tell you, and in all my life growing up, did not look like me. And still I became a police officer. I had never seen one, but I still dreamt and became one. I was the first black chief of police in Canadian history. Imagine if Devon had said, well, I needed to wait to see one who looks like me before I can dream of being one. And I'm not saying that the message is not important to see. There is some power in it, but I want to take us even further. To say if you don't see it, Google it. YouTube it. Ask a friend. We have too much technology today for us to say because we don't see somebody like ourselves in that role. And here's what I would like to do. I always challenge myself that, hey, let me be the first. Well, what's wrong with that? There is nothing that is close to you in this country, in this city. So you don't necessarily have to see somebody who looks like yourself. See anyone in any position and you think you dream to be that person, go after it. Anyone here is ready and willing to help you. Do you understand what I'm saying? I really want you to realize that you're in this incredible land of opportunity and there are no restrictions, no limitations whatsoever. So what we should see, when you look at what's happening in the rest of the world and all this division, you are in a land of unity. And anyone that you see that possesses the character, the hard work ethic, that is your role model. Go to them, they will help you. Look around this room, I guarantee you, If any of you young people who look like me went to anyone in this room who doesn't look like me and ask for help, they will help you. That is a very powerful message. We need to adopt that. That is our message going forward. And it's only by adopting that that you will actually seize the opportunity, claim your place, that truly you are an incredible part of the future of this country. The final piece of the story I want to share with you is this. I know that some of you have come through some very difficult things to be here in this country. There were some challenges that were laid in front of you. I want you to know that you're strong, that you're resilient, that you have incredible talents just waiting to be developed. That can all happen right here in this country. And always be very thankful for that. As I rose through the ranks, I got to the rank of inspector, I got to lead some 200 plus people. Then I got to the rank of being what's called a superintendent. And I was thinking to myself, how does a little boy from Jamaica who grew up with nothing, came to Winnipeg, failed grade 6, end up being a high-ranking member of an organization like the Winnipeg Police Service? And I remember, Miss Hannah. I must go back and find Miss Hannah and thank her. And I went back to the school board office, and I went in uniform because I didn't want people to think I'm a stalker or anything like that. But I said, I am trying to find this teacher because I want to thank her for my life. And they said, unfortunately Miss Hannah passed away. And I was very sad. But I always talk about the power of one. Like Miss Hannah changed my entire life. All you need in your life sometimes is one person at the right time. So always share that. You have the power to be that difference maker. To the adults here, I would say, let's not wait for the young person to come to you. It was Miss Hannah who reached out to me and said, I will help you. Think about the difference you can make. So I always share that story. So when I was in a competition now to become the chief of police, I received a telephone call one day at home from one of my staff sergeants who said, Devon, I don't know if this makes sense, but my neighbor works at the school board office. They remember you coming in looking for this teacher. She hasn't passed away, but she's in the hospital with a terminal illness. And I immediately put on my best suit. I ran to my wife and I said, I can't believe this. Miss Hannah is still alive. I am going to go and thank her. Put on my best suit and I went down to her hospital room, and there was her name on the door, Miss Hannah, not Miss Hannah, but just Hannah. And I knocked on the door and I walked in, and there she was, Miss Hannah, who I had not seen in some 36 years. And I said, Miss Hannah, do you remember a little boy named Devon Clunis? And she said, yes. And I'm praying that you become the next chief of police. I'm like, Miss Hannah, thank you that I can even apply for that position. Because if not for what you did all those years ago, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I said, you probably did it for hundreds of other kids, but you never heard thank you. So I want to thank you for all those kids too. And she passed away 3 weeks later, but shortly thereafter, I became Winnipeg's 17th chief of police and the first black chief of police in Winnipeg. Here's what I want to leave you with. Truly, we live in the best country on the planet. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. This is a great country. What makes us so great is our willingness to be open, to accept, to fully include. We don't tolerate. There was a point in time when we talk about tolerating, and I never liked it. I'm like, I don't want to be tolerated. We appreciate and we celebrate who we are. Individually, but we are one. And we're willing to open our arms and help one another. I think with the people in this room, we're going to do something radically transformational in this city, in this province. This country is already on the world stage, but I believe out of this city, something incredible is percolating up. We see it here in organizations like this, we see it in all the people in this room. Young people, this is your time. All this opportunity is in front of you. There is nothing stopping you. You've seen that we can do it, and truly, we didn't have the support that you have. You have all of these people and you have us. Go and seize the future. It is yours. thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Devon, for sharing your words. We have two of our youth who would like to come and say thank you, so I would like to call Rochelle and Delili up to the stage to say a few words to you. Thank you.
Mic check 1, 2. First things first, I want to introduce my mom, my beautiful mom, so she can just wave at you guys and that's the woman who made me be here today, you know, with all the work she came with me all the way. Mr. Devon, I know Mr. Devon, a good friend of mine, a mentor, and like a father figure to me. We hang out on the weekend sometimes. But just like he said, I was scared of the police when I came to this country, until I was at a conference at Umoja, and I spoke about how the police has to make friendship with the youth, so that the youth are not scared. Because when I came, even if I was walking and the police car just passed next to me, I would go in the hallway, you know, hide in a corridor. Until I met Devon and we talked, we became friends, we started texting, and he started giving me, you know, a lot of, you know, advice on how to live in this country and how to make it through. And he's one of the reasons why I'm in the education system. I'm actually at E.E.D.S right now because of him. I wanted to apply for police and he said I can't do it. My personality is not for the police force. But I listened to him, you know, I listened to him. And right now I'm working with the youth. And you know, just like he said, I've been in the school division for 2 years with the N.E.E.D.S, and I don't see a lot of black teachers around, you know. So I started with being an EA so that the kids can see me around, and hopefully I'll go back for an education degree. But because of Devon, you know, my mom, the N.E.E.D Center, Margaret, thank you, the staff, and everyone who believed in me, I got to become the Mr. D I am today because of all the help from everyone I got from. And I want to thank Mr. Devon for flying in this bad weather to come and talk to you guys. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello everyone, as I said, my name is Rachel Kabuha. I go by Rachel. And I just want to acknowledge my mom. She's in the room. And she's sitting on table 46. And I love her. She always tells me, don't give up. So I'm just here because you just almost made me cry. It was so lovely to hear a word from Devon. And we thank you for taking the step as one of our people trying to make a difference. You really mean a lot of things to us. You just don't know how I feel. You just made my day tonight. And we as young people, we should also follow the footsteps of our teacher Devon. He's a teacher to me, and I think he's also your teacher. He's done so much, and if we also focus and we follow what he did, we are going to reach so many things. We are going to just prosper as he did. It's because he didn't give up. So challenges are out there, but we only need to stand as he said. So thank you so much for coming for this event and trying to make me cry. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Rochelle and Delili for those speeches. I would now like to call upon the Honourable Rochelle Squires, Minister of Sustainable Development, to address the youth. tell you, what a room full of champions. There are some of Winnipeg's finest in this room. And Devon, thank you so much for that very passionate and inspirational speech. And Margaret, thank you so much for what you do for Manitobans and for everybody in this room, and for just putting your best foot forward all the time. Thank you very much. So Margaret had asked me if I could address the youth in the room. And so I'm going to address the young and the young at heart. So does that include everyone? Yeah. Because I consider myself a young as well, and definitely young at heart. But really, my message for all of you is really simple. And the simple message that I want to share with you from my heart is to just keep on, keep on. Keep on no matter what obstacles are in your way. There will always be challenges in front of us. But in a room full of wonderful people like this, and in a province as great as ours, undoubtedly you will find people who will hold your hand when you most need it and help you take that next step. When I got elected, the very next day, the press had asked if they could do an interview with me. And I said something that I will remember for the rest of my life. And I said, it is a remarkable thing that a woman of my background could someday hold public office. A woman who came from an underprivileged background like myself could hold office in this country, in this province. And I think that that is testament of the opportunities that this great nation offers absolutely every single one of us. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter what household you were raised in, whether you grew up affluent or poor, whether you grew up with a lot of opportunities in front of you to accelerate your career at a young age or not. This country affords all of us the opportunities to just continue and continue and continue until we achieve our destiny. The important thing for all of us is to never give up. And what do I mean by that? What does it mean to never give up? When I was younger, it's not that I had this ambition to become elected. My first goal was to get my grade 10. It was a challenge for me because I already had a baby. I was living in a very modest environment. I had no money, no education. At times I didn't have a home, and I didn't know if I would have food for the rest of the month. And my goal was to get my grade 10. And I found some people to take my hand and help me along the way, help my son along the way. We got our grade 10. And then it was the grade 11. And then it was the grade 12. And it went on from there. And that's what I mean when I say keep on moving. Keep on, keep on. It's just it's a phrase, but it means everything. And there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be somebody or something in your way that it's like, no, I don't think you can achieve that. You weren't born in the right place. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough education. You don't have this. You don't have that. But everyone in this room and all the champions in this room are here to tell you, you have enough. You are enough to achieve your destiny. So don't stop. We all believe in you. If you need some last bit of advice, what Devon Clunis has said, I just want to pick up on that mentorship. Find someone who will be there with you, and there's so many of them in this room here tonight. I encourage all of you to make a new friend tonight and encourage someone else. And when someone wants to encourage you, accept that as a gift. Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight. Merci beaucoup. God bless. Thank you, Michelle Squire, Minister of Sustainable Development. Now, celebrating 20 years of providing services to our community requires an understanding of the history. The chairperson of the 20th Anniversary Committee, past board member and past president, Suhail Basharat, will present the history of N.E.E.D.S.
Thank you, Margaret. Okay, being a short person, can you see me, everybody? Thank you. Before I would about the history of N.E.E.D.S, I needed to understand the word history. I know there are lots of teachers in this room, and there are lots of young kids that they can explain to me what the word history means. But for me, I just got a gift called Alexa. So I went to Alexa and I said, what does the word history mean? This is what she told me. History is the branch of knowledge dealing with past events connected with someone or something. To be able to access the branch of knowledge and understand past events, I had to meet with the person who knows it all. Although I did have a series of questions, yet within the first 5 minutes, I realized that what I was missing is a recorder. Poor judgment on my part. Let's go back 20 years and let me take you through thoughts that shape N.E.E.D.S. Actually, let me tell you the real story of N.E.E.D.S. A single mom with 2 kids, economist, professional, hardworking, and lacked the language and Canadian experience to enter the workforce in her new country. The only job she could find was in a factory. In no time, this energetic woman will be faced with mental health challenges and depression, and will block her from achieving her dreams. She knew that she needed professional help, yet with the stigma of mental health, it stopped her from reaching out. As determined as she is today, she joined a program called Career Opportunity Professional Immigrants. She learned about building capacity for future, employment, and receiving psychological help. She was able to connect with other women who shared the same challenges. To her surprise, the energy was restored. When she was asked about the point of changing life, this was when a teacher asked the student to prepare a visual affirmation from a magazine and what you need to achieve in Canada. I think all of you know who I'm talking about, but let's say that we don't. So she took a picture of Kim Campbell leading a limo and put beside it, "I'm strong and independent woman," signed by Margaret. Unfortunately, her teacher did not take her commitment seriously and responded, "You have the right to have a dream." Later on in life, she had the honor of meeting Kim Campbell, and she shared the story with her, and Kim asked her for that picture. Probably you're going to be seeing the picture later on. She defined her stops in achieving her goal, wanted to become an employment counselor, and started the process with IRCOM. By doing assessment with tenants, she was a practical student. Witnessing more women coming to the program with multiple issues, including employment, allowed her to identify a need that existed but not addressed. Yet, the practicum was done and a new chapter needed to be opened. Therefore, she decided to continue as a volunteer so she can continue providing services to these women. Lobbying funders, I think all of us who are in the social services know that it is an art. And United Way was there to lend a hand. But the new challenge was that the director of IRCOM left and they needed a trustworthy director. Marty Dolan, rest in peace, was identified, and he was able to accept this challenge and sponsor the project. $29,000 was granted for the project over 18 months. This is the first marking in N.E.E.D.S history, November 1st, 1994. I think when the federal government announced $4 million of providing to N.E.E.D.S, we're talking starting with $29,000. Employment programs do require an ESL, and the federal government granted $30,000 on January 1st, 1995, to be followed by English for Employment. The merging of Manitoba Interfaith Center and Immigrant Center, including the movement of funds from the federal government to the province, gave a real birth to N.E.E.D.S, Inc. February 16, 1999. So actually we are celebrating the 20th anniversary right on the mark. Gave the beginning of this path. And at that time they identified Margaret, Marty, Anita, and John to be the first founders, and they appointed Marty as the president, and Margaret was offered the job of the executive director. I believe some of the founders here in the room, and right now they're saying, yes, we did the right thing. An application was submitted and approved within 3 months to obtain a charitable status, yet the funding ended on March 31st, 1999, and $0 was approved for April 1st. Staff took on a new role as volunteers to ensure services continue, and the Winnipeg Foundation came to the rescue. The new funding did not include a budget line called rent. Don McCandless, rest in peace, the owner of the building, allowed N.E.E.D.S to stay there for a full year with zero payment and only one message. I understand what it means to be immigrant and no employment. When he came to Canada, he had $0, and he was able to become a wealthy person, not only in finances, but also in giving. He was coming to the center 3 times a week, ensuring all the needs of the organization were met, and always celebrated the clients' achievements. At that time, programs were delivered to women, including employment program, ESL, after-school program with no money, and volunteer staff. So to all the staff who are working at N.E.E.D.S today, this is really a message for all of us, the importance of this agency. The approval of research funds to N.E.E.D.S as incorporated and charitable organization by the Winnipeg Foundation opened the door, and within the year, the province approved funding for 6 months for salaries for the executive director. Yet she shared it with staff and continued her paid employment at Montgomery Clinic as a counselor and a part-time basis. Participating in international conference for war-affected children identified a need and altered N.E.E.D.S to concentrate its efforts on youth. That alteration required a bigger space, and Don helped in identifying the current location they are in. Based on research by the Faculty of Social Work, it was identified the needs for programs and services to refugee youth. In 2007, the province offered to concentrate on youth within the following programs: Introduction to Canada Education Program, Employment Program for Youth, and the continuation of the After-School Program for Youth. The number of staff has tripled. I'm not saying that the staff, they are troubled, although probably today they say yes. But it tripled in 2015, and N.E.E.D.S was asked by the federal government to provide more services for children and youth at school. With that, the number of staff, as of today, I believe either 89 or 90, starting with only 3, and the number of clients to over 2,000 clients per year. It's an amazing journey. I could have went on and on, but I know I'm limited only to 5 minutes. So, the question now, I still don't know what does the word needs mean. This is based on Margaret's answer. I wanted to have the icons after that, put the words in the letters to be meaningful, so it was perfect. Every human being has needs, and newcomers need employment, education, development, and all needs services. What a brilliant one. and this is what gave the birth of N.E.E.D.S as we know it today. Before closing, I want to give a message to all the youth in the room based on the learning of the history of N.E.E.D.S. Achieving your dreams require hard work. Don't stay as a dreamer, be an achiever. In closing, it is really important also for me to recognize the hard work of the board. So each board member was actually elected and brought to N.E.E.D.S to bring the collectiveness of expertise to the agency. The chairperson, Yazik, in the area of child protection, Alex in the area of finances, Norman in the area of employment, and Lorraine in management and finances. At this point, I would like the board members to come to the stage. I believe this will take us to the next step. It is in recognizing our founders and some important people in the life of N.E.E.D.S. Thank you all.
First, we would like to recognize Michael Scott. Michael came to N.E.E.D.S looking for resources for immigration and needing to understand the process of immigration. He appreciated the vision of the agency, and he became one of the founders of N.E.E.D.S. Michael, can you come up and please be recognized?
Sorry Michael couldn't be here today. The next founder, Marty Dolan, he was the volunteer executive director while applying for funding from United Way. The story goes, Margaret went to Marty's office, showed him the proposal, and asked him to become the first volunteer executive director. He said, go and come back the next day. Soft heart accepted the proposal. Rest in peace. So I'd like to call on Marty's grandson, Alex Chase, who will accept the flag on his behalf.
Next, we would like to recognize John M. Kristansky. John came to the N.E.E.D.S office when they were located at IRCOM to introduce himself as City Councilor for Point Douglas. After a couple of visits, the partnership started between election and services. Thank you, John.
Next, Anita Sharma. Margaret met her late husband first and was impressed in his work in the cross-cultural project and asked him to apply to N.E.E.D.S in 1998. pay her, and she became a board founder. Margaret said to her, either you sign a document or it's been bleeped out. She is brilliant, signed the papers, and with honor to be a founder.
Next, I would like to recognize Margaret von Lau. We all know who she is. It is extremely important, and I am so honored to recognize you as the founder of N.E.E.D.S. Based on personal experience, she was able to develop the service to immigrants and refugees, as they were not getting enough support and wanted to help them in the area of employment. Although the history provides us with a snapshot of her hard work, to start N.E.E.D.S, it is important to recognize her today as a founder, and personally, I must say, as an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much, Margaret.
Jessica and Alex will provide the next plaque to David Lampert. David Lampert, known to the agency as the godfather of the program. John Lampert. In 2001, he was seconded to the agency as a program director to establish and enhance the programs and services for refugee youth, children, and their families.
Next, we honor Don McAngus. Don came to Winnipeg as an immigrant, and Sue had already spoke to some of the endeavors of Don and how he helped needs. And so Don came to Canada as an immigrant and started his own business in Winnipeg. Don believed very much in helping the community, and by contributing his funds and his own contributed volunteer time to the community. Unfortunately, N.E.E.D.S was the benefactor of both his funds and his volunteerism. And we're very lucky that Don was a part of these. Unfortunately, he passed away 15 years ago. But we do have a member of the family here today to help celebrate his legacy and N.E.E.D.S 20th anniversary. Thank you. That concludes the presentation honoring our founders.
Thank you so much. I do apologize for the sound we are trying to figure out, but it doesn't really matter because the next guest is Margaret von Lau. You've been hearing about her all evening. I met her maybe 2 hours ago and I fell in love with her in the first 5 minutes, so that It's such a pleasure to have you and finally hear from you. So Margaret, please come up. The CEO of N.E.E.D.S.
Might not work for everyone, but maybe will work for me. Can we just recognize somebody who was working very hard to organize this event? And remember how everyone except herself. Suhat was also for years in our board. And we just want to thank you so much for everything what you did. You are a friend, you are a mentor, you're crazy like me, I'm sorry. But your heart is bigger than anyone. We greatly appreciate, and I remember when she was the executive director of Indian Women Association, and she quit, and I said, yes, now you can come to the board as a treasurer. Didn't give her a chance really to make the decision. So thank you so much. We greatly appreciate everything. And now I will start. Oh yes! Thank you so much. And now I'm starting what it's called Thanksgiving in February. Devon, you are my hero. Now you know when I choose Devon to be our guest speaker. The powerful come from his heart and from his experience. So having a mentor like Devon, it's a privilege to be in this city and to be immigrant and have opportunity to listen to you. All of us, thank you. All of our dignitaries, Marianne, Kathy, Rochelle, thank you so much for your coming and for supporting us. And now I didn't forget about Marcus. And it is a different story. 1991, social worker on welfare, coming and visit a single man, and I was scared because if somebody from the government is coming and will be probably telling me that now you have to find any job. And guess what? He said, Margaret, you need to study English and you have to go back to university. Devon, you mentioned how people are making changes. Yes, I listen. And I thank you so much because thanks to you, I am who I am. Thank you. Career opportunity for professional immigrants. One of the smart teachers, Regina, show us a business card and says, I have a business card and I believe that each of you can have it. Yes, I have it. Not only that, I got it my first business card 7 months after I finished the training. So thank you so much, Regina. In 1994, I had the opportunity to meet Marty Darwin on a very different circumstances. I was actually asked when I was looking for executive director, volunteer executive director at IRCOM, somebody told me, well, probably the only crazy person like you could be Marty Darwin, and if he wouldn't agree, you wouldn't find anyone. Yes, he did. So I have his family, and really greatly, greatly appreciate you to be here with us, because Marty is like our mentor, and I have no words to express how much. In 1999, we incorporated. So I met John Kristansky, who was the city council in 94. I met Anita in 97. And of course I had Marty Dowling and Michael Scott, who unfortunately couldn't hang with us. Yes, Anita, don't cry. No one person can do everything. The team is the most important. People who believe on the cause, not about money, not about anything, about how we can impact other people. So it was a privilege to know all of you, and thank you so much. 2001, we moved to the new location. We start to have many programs. Well, I was the only one small woman, didn't know everything, but I knew where to look for the resources. My friend David spent hours and hours to be my mentor, to come to the agency seconded from the provincial government for a year as a program director, and build the base of our present programs. She is the architect of our program. So thank you so much, David, for being part of this. And this, in conclusion, to tell you that yes, we grow, but not because we believed only on the newcomers to grow and to newcomers to succeed. I have to thank our funders, and I encourage our funders, all of them, to have more evaluation on us, to build our capacity. Yes, we need to be controlled. Yes, we need to have opportunity to bring to the table our achievements. We have to have the outcomes. We want to see the results with the numbers of people who get a job. We want people to succeed, to graduate from high school, to graduate from universities. This is important. So for all funders who are here, greatly appreciate. John Gerard, a politician. 1999. Since 1999, he never missed any event at N.E.E.D.S. He's on all of events for the last 20 years, and greatly appreciate. Can we provide services to clients alone? No. We have partners. Welcome Place. I don't know all of them. They are amazing. We were part of Welcome Place from 94 to 99. But our relationship and our friendship stay until now. We actually are friends. We are brothers and sisters. Thank you. Partners, Hospitality House. Peter Karama, stand up. Our partners for civic engagement conference. It's amazing friends, an amazing person, and bring communities together. Can we impact on young people without having teachers? Winnipeg School Division, you rock, we love you. Sue. One person who I see here. Her name is Noelle de Baba, and when I left IRCOM many years ago, she became executive director at IRCOM, and I was honored that she came to me and she asked, Margaret, can you tell me exactly what was wrong? Why so many people didn't succeed before at IRCOM? What I said? Because they didn't believe on what they do. They were looking for jobs. She didn't. And she started, and IRCOM became almost as good as N.E.E.D.S Center. What is IPW? All of organization, IPW, and I would just have to jump back to Momentum. So thanks all of you guys for being our partners. Partnership is the key. We are together can create and make much more than the one isolated person or one isolated organization. So Momenta, you are our umbrella organization for whole settlement. Stand up. No, Momenta, sorry. It's like I was of course meant Mansa. And now it's time to thank our organizers and our amazing staff. May I have my executive team to stand up? Heather, Greg, Magali, thank you. Where is Greg? You stay guys. Managers, Kitty, Misty, Jorge, standing up with us. Matt, where is Matt? Jennifer, thank you. And now all of staff, stand up. Thank you. You know that I love you. They call me Mama Margaret. Thanks God that it's not Grandma Margaret. Having as amazing people among our organization, it's creating the environment for youth. When young people are coming, the first thing what they want to know, how they will be treated. And honestly, no organization can survive with not properly treat those who are they serving. They are our bosses, not we are nobody's bosses. We work for our youth. We work for them, for the benefit of the city. Devon, I didn't really repeat your speech. This is what I prepared. For our city, for our province, and for the best country in the world. And I'm so pleased to be here with you. And thank you so much for joining us with today, with the 20th anniversary of N.E.E.D. Thank you. And we have to thank Nadia so much for coming here. Thank you so much.
Honestly, I could just watch Margaret work the room all night. Like, seriously, I'm like, who's she gonna thank next? This is so exciting. You know what actually really stood out to me is that Margaret didn't stand on the stage. She was out there around the people. And I think that really symbolizes how down to earth she is, her humility, her sincerity, her warmth. And it was such a pleasure to discover NEEDS, the history of NEEDS, through all the people that helped NEEDS out. So Margaret, that was so wonderful. We're going to do something a little dramatic now, a little glitzy. We will have a cake, because it's the 20th anniversary, so I think we deserve a cake. And I'm going to ask Margaret, Devon and Yasin to cut the cake. Apparently there's sparkles involved, so that's perfect. Noticed that as soon as Margaret took the microphone, it started working. We're almost at the end of our evening, but we're going to finish off with some performances from our youth. So I'd like to invite the Indigenous hoop dancers to come and give a performance. I invite you all to turn your chairs around so that you can enjoy this performance.